Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 8 of the Briefing Room podcast. Today we're with Zainab Azim, running for Mayor of Milton. And I'd like to thank Strum Catering for sponsoring our video today and for making the food today. They're a company based out of Milton, and they're a small business that cater to all individuals, and they do residential, commercial, like catering to all kinds of company, corporate parties, and housewarmings and everything like that.
What
And
type of food do they cater?
South Indian food.
Nice.
Yeah, and
okay.
it's fully vegetarian, and that's the niche they have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's get started with today's interview. So for those people who don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself in 5 lines or less?
Sure, I'll try and be
Yeah.
quick. My name is Zainab Azim. First and foremost, I'm a Miltonian. I grew up here. We moved here when I was 1. I was raised by my grandmother, who is a teacher, or was a teacher. I played for Milton United, so soccer player right here. Yeah, I thought I was going to be a professional soccer player, then I broke my knee, so that happened. Fast forward. Today, now, I'm a teaching fellow at Harvard University. I teach organizing, economics, and policy. I did my master's there. I most recently worked on the Mayoral Mamdani campaign in New York. And I guess the most important part is that, I don't know, I'm a daughter, granddaughter, sister, and football fan.
Wow.
Sure.
So what World Cup team did you support?
Right now, Spain.
Spain right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
What about before when the other teams were
Morocco.
Morocco? Yeah. I mean, I supported
the underdog.
Canada, Norway.
Yeah.
And
well,
Portugal,
Canada originally, but then they were out.
Portugal, but
then also
and then Norway. Whatever
sad.
team I started supporting started getting out.
Yeah, I know.
But Spain now, hopefully Spain wins.
So you're with Spain.
I'm with Spain, definitely. I don't.
Who are you with, Gaia?
You know what? If I could make a choice, I would wish for the stadium to win this final. I don't want anyone winning this. This is the worst possible final option we could have gotten, in my opinion. I think the best possible final option would have been France, England. It would have been so exciting.
I mean, they're on Saturday.
I will be. You know what? I'll be tuning into the real World Cup final.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
Wow, hot take.
No, it's on Sunday. No, the real one.
The Saturday. No, but like Saturday is the
like the bronze.
The third,
yeah.
That's France.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with some food first. Let's get food.
We're gonna eat now.
Good. Yeah, let's eat while we're what's it called? Recording. Yeah. So we got what's it called?
You can explain. So yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. We got Hakka noodles.
Real good.
Yeah. And then we got.
I'll help you. What is this?
That is, I think Alfredo. Oh no, that's fried rice.
Nice.
Yeah, and then that's vegetable fried rice, and this is Alfredo pasta here.
This is not okay.
Yeah.
In the morning. Oh gosh.
I mean, it's 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
Oh wait, that's true.
I've
been awake for
This is still the morning for me.
I've lost sense of time. Oh my gosh, that looks really good. Okay, well, Yahir's gonna eat with us too, right?
Yeah, you want some?
I will chime in after. You guys, this is guys' podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the
which one are you going for?
I'm going with the pasta first.
Okay. I can put some. I want that too. So
yeah,
I'll put some for you.
I'll also watch your video where you're distributing mangoes in Milton.
Oh yes. We should come up with a series name for that. I think it was like Mango and Mingle or something. I don't know, but we realized. I'm sure. Are you South Indian?
Yeah, I'm South Indian.
I'm sure it's the same.
It's a city in South India. Actually.
What's it called?
It's the state of Karnataka. It's called Mangalore.
Oh,
yeah, they're known for
Bangalore.
Mangalore.
Oh,
Bangalore is a city, and Mangalore is also another city, right?
It literally has mango in the name.
Yeah. They're known for their dosas, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were the best mangoes I've ever had. They came from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the uncles talking. Mangoes,
The kids also love the mangoes. I saw them.
Who doesn't love mangoes, man?
Dude, yeah. Well, I met people who don't like mangoes.
Actually.
Yeah, it's it's a texture thing for them. Like it's too slimy or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
So let's talk with another question. Or if elected, what changes would you push in Milton? Like, what'd you bring? What are your number one priority on that bullet list?
Good, great question. Yeah. To start off, though, is like people already love this place, right? They love that it's peaceful. We love the people. We love the beauty. We love that we know people in this town. It's not like a really crazy, busy city that's unsafe. So there's a lot to love about it. And so the changes that we would bring are ones that invest in those very same things so that people can spend more time in the town that they love, doing the things they love with the people that they love. So we have top 3 things to make sure that people can spend time here. Because right now it's a commuter town, right?
Yeah.
careers close to home, which means small businesses and startups in this town. It means more offices and retail space instead of just houses and warehouses everywhere. And an education village with a university and an innovation hub, because
And yeah, they've been talking about Lawyer.
they've been talking about it, but doing it is a different thing.
Yeah.
We have such a talented population. I think it's something like 50% higher graduation rate here for post-secondary than anywhere else. So it's, why should we have to leave for opportunity when we have the people and the land to decide how we develop it? So that's number one.
Yeah.
Number two is transit every 20, which means a bus you can trust every 20 minutes. They get your own town in 20 minutes.
We know about Milton.
Because it's like, again, you're wasting time waiting for a bus that ghosts you and never shows up.
Yeah.
That's time you could be spending, I don't know, playing soccer, doing something else. And also transit every 20 means all day go. A university shuttle. So that if you do need to go out of this town and come back home, you can easily, you don't got to go to Oakville all the time.
Yeah, I know what you.
Third thing is alive after thought, which does not mean crazy things at night. It means affordable things for families to do. After 5 p.m., things shut down here early.
Yeah.
There's very limited space. You look at the parks, they're really full in the summer because all of us want to spend time here. So we're building more spaces for all of us to be able to enjoy what we love about this town. Those are the top 3.
Yeah. So you've mentioned how you're going to bring economic opportunities to Milton, right? So like small businesses and startups, right? So what kind of small businesses and startups are you talking about? And how, because a lot of the times, businesses mean like factories and stuff, damage to the environment, right? So how are you gonna like sort of balance both of them together, like not damage the environment at the same time, but make sure we get economic growth at the same time?
So we always have to start with who are our people who live in this town.
Yeah.
What we have is a knowledge economy. So lots, again, like most people who work in engineering, tech, healthcare, so-called, and so forth. A lot of the warehouses that we've seen develop in Milton. So how Milton currently measures economic development success, do you know what the metric is?
No, I'm not sure yet.
You would think it's jobs and small businesses that open. No, the metric is the square footage of industrial development, which basically means how many warehouses have we got.
How many factories we're building.
And when you look at warehouses, the warehouses that we do have, many of them do not have jobs. They're automated or they're empty. It's just trucks coming in and out.
Yeah.
So when I said business, right, that's not the business that we're talking about.
Actual brick and mortar stuff.
There's one part of that. There can be a part of town for that, but there's the business that we're talking about. When we say small businesses, when you look at Main Street, it can be things like food and culture that bring people together. It can be, when we say startups, things like tech and innovation.
Yeah.
But when we also look at cities like Markham, that were similar to us decades ago, they were facing the same problem. What did they do? They had one anchoring institution, started building that university, and then they got IBM to come.
Yeah, and they got all the IT companies came to.
So the benefit with Milton is that we, unlike these other places, Burlington, Toronto, we have land to decide how we develop. So, and we have highway access from we have literally everything you would want in a community. The people, the land, the highways.
The talent.
But we're just wasting it. So it's for us, we want to invest in that by making it easier for businesses to open up here. And it's our whole platform, the 3 things that I said, they're not individual things. They're interconnected. The more people you have working in this town, the more time they're spending in this town, the more they're actually spending dollars in this town. So small businesses stay open. The reason small businesses close in this town is because there's nobody to spend there. No foot traffic, because there's also no transit. And like parking is limited. So it's all interconnected. It's a system.
So, did you know, like, this is a fun fact, actually. Milton is actually bigger than Hamilton.
By land?
Like the size, by land, right? It's just we don't expand into much of the land outside this because it's an agricultural zone. But like, you know what I mean? Right? Yeah.
Which is good. I would say the thing about urban sprawl, again, the thing that people love about this town is the nature. And there's room for us to rezone some of the land for opportunity. I don't think it's worth it when you're talking about building data centers and warehouses. So we need to be very, very intentional on how we're using the special resources that we have. They're not used to be extracted, but to develop a complete community, right?
So let's talk about your let's talk about the candidates, right?
Okay.
There are 8 candidates running in this mayoral election. And how do you stand out from them? Like, what makes you unique from them? Like, and
I would say I'm going to try and say 3 things, but it might be 4 things. Number 1, I'm not a career politician. This is also not a retirement plan for me. I think people are tired of the politics that is about personality and about one person who runs for every position in this town, be that MP, MPP, councillor, whatever it may be. And some who've switched parties multiple times to do so. Politics of opportunism. So for me, I think that's a benefit that people ask, well, you've never been a councillor before. Yeah, I think that's a benefit. I think that you bring a fresh perspective,
A fresh mind.
a fresh mind, and a level of competence as well. So it's, that's number one. And number two, obviously my age. And I also think that youth is a benefit. People try and frame it as a negative. But I think it's one of the strongest things that we can bring as well because of energy. When we think about the 70% of people who did not vote in the last municipal election, the politics of the past is not going to bring those people into politics, right? To participate. Average age in this town is around 33. It's a young town.
Yeah.
People need to see, not only feel seen, but actually be brought in to the process. And that is something that we've proven that we can do.
Yeah.
So age is obviously another one. The third thing is that I'm an educator and an organizer first.
Yeah.
And a Miltonian. And what that means is that the way that we campaign is very different than any other campaign.
Noticed that.
Okay, well, I'll let you talk about it later, but it's our goal fundamentally is not just winning on October 26th. Yes, that matters because you need to have the tools to implement the changes you've promised. And winning for us means delivering after the election. But because we're organizers, we know that winning has to mean winning every single day.
Yeah.
What does winning every single day mean? Don't look at our words, look at what we're doing. We're the only campaign with 200 volunteers who are knocking on doors every single day, except for Friday. We give them a break. Voluntarily. There's a lot of campaigns who use paid canvassing. So these are all volunteers because they believe in something greater than themselves and they're being invested in through leadership development. Because that's literally what I teach at Harvard. We train people on the Mamdani campaign. I would say those are the key differences. And again, for people who look at these negatively, you can look at the Oakville right beside us. That mayor, Rob Burton, was not on councillor before he became mayor. And I think that allowed you to have like a new and fresh perspective for people. So I think those are the key differences that people might see between us and other candidates.
Definitely. And you've got quite the academic background. I mean, you went to U of T for neuroscience. You went to Harvard for your master's. You've worked in the office of the Deputy PM of Canada, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Finance minister, and you worked for NYC Mayor Zohan Mamdani. What skills did you pick up through those experiences that can help you contribute in helping Milton grow if you become mayor?
Yeah, that's a great question. To see that not on how people talk, but by what they do and the choices that they know with the opportunities they've been afforded. At the same time, the experiences that I've had have obviously shaped who I am as a person. I'll start with, I first started as a neuroscientist. And I think having that technical background is really important because you see the world in a way of evidence is really important. And I learned the hard way that for a lot of politicians, evidence doesn't matter at all. So evidence really does matter before making a life and death decision or a high stakes decision, making sure you have or using your judgment with all the information that you do have to make the right choice. And how do you use that evidence responsibly. My master's, I will say that through that really then systems thinking, I think it's reflected in our platform. You'll see everything is interconnected. There's one thing affects the rest so deeply. And the way that we plan this town doesn't show that, right?
Yeah.
It's very reactive. The more warehouses that we build, we just think, oh, it's just another warehouse.
Yeah.
No, it impacts how we've grown as a community, it impacts whether people can stay here or not. So systems thinking, you spoke about what was after my master's. Oh, my time at finance. Well, finance at the finance minister. So that was the federal government.
Yeah.
I learned a lot there. Number one thing was how a budget gets made for a country and the role that municipalities have in that process. So if you don't have a town that's proactive and planning ahead and fighting for their fair share from government, like the feds in the province are not going to come and give you a donation. Okay, you need to fight for it. And I learned the power that municipalities have to actually create change. People think, oh, the feds have all the money and the province has all the money, so we can't do anything. Absolutely not. A lot of the blockage to, for example, building affordable housing happens at the local level with NIMBYism or whatnot. So it really is, we have a lot of tools at the local level if we use them. And I saw municipalities that were fighting for their fair share and those that weren't. And how negotiation works at the federal level is not, it's a lot about relationships and it's a lot about who you know, but also knowing that what grants are available. So that taught me a lot. And then you said, Mom, I think the last thing was
Mamdani, yeah.
Yeah. Final point on the deputy prime minister, partnership is so important.
Yeah.
A lot of levels of government ping pong responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
They say, oh, it's not my problem. It's the feds or the province.
And the feds say it's the province.
They all say that, but the job of government is to work with people to solve their everyday problems. And that means we all share responsibility and work with each other. And I saw how that could be done effectively and where it breaks down. The Mamdani campaign. So the reason I left government was I left very jaded, sort of not believing, that it was really connected to people on the ground at that point, because Ottawa is quite detached much of the time. What the Mamdani campaign taught me was how we could do a politics that started and ended with people. Mamdani did not convince me of that. I actually didn't like them before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a 14-year-old boy who convinced me, in New York while working there, because he showed me what it means for everybody to take responsibility and agency over the collective things that we're fighting for.
Yeah.
And how do you build a movement-based politics that isn't about one person? Because I was done with that type of politics. How do you build one that is about all people and our common cares and concerns? So what that campaign gave me was permission to hope again. Mm-hmm. And hope not is something that you feel, but is something that you do.
Yeah.
So that's what all of those experiences gave me. And I guess I'll just end with like Milton, this home, is the place that gave me the values. And because you can go through, I didn't do all those for resume building. A lot of it was actually just accidental. Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe, I'm a person of faith, so I believe in God's plan and whatever, but, these were all gifts that I was given, but this home is looking at the values and how do you use those gifts, and following what is aligned with your values. So it started here.
I mean, how does one achieve this much? Like, what's the secret to it?
Yeah. It's a good question.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that no one person does anything alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like a whole village. It takes a village
behind you.
A whole village that raises a child.
Yeah.
So this place, really, the people that help like my no one in my family knows how to cook except my grandmother. So really, it was our neighbors that were raising us. So it's not any one thing that I did or that there's lots of talented people more talented than I am that don't always get to do all these things. And that's not because of them alone. It's like matter of circumstance. So there's like a humility that comes with the fact of, the gifts that you've been given. And there's people make choices at any point. And you just listed the things I've done. Yeah. At any point in those, I could have made a very different choice to go make more money somewhere else. You'll notice there wasn't private sector mentioned in there yet. And that's intentional of like, it's like if you just follow your values and really what do you believe in and care about, that's where you will excel. And you try and fit into a box of like, I'm going to be a doctor because my parents wanted me to, because my mother really wanted me to. You will not be the best at what you do.
And you hate what you do, actually.
Yeah, so you need to really believe in it. And there's a privilege in that choice. Let's just be clear about that a lot of people don't feel like they have the ability to choose. So if you've been given that choice, use it to do good, man. Like, don't just try and benefit yourself. So to do all that, if there's no recipe, it's like, humility in that you have your people, but always be aligned with your values, whatever that is. And God's the provider. So just like follow your values.
I love the philosophy you gave me here. It's very interesting. Your campaign resembles Zohar Mamdani's, right? And having worked with him, you know what made his campaign special, right? So like, what was like so special about his campaign? And for me, it stood out a lot. Like,
what stood out for you?
I think the fact that, rest of the politicians, they're just, to be honest, like old guys, talking in fancy English, but Zohran, he actually interacted with the people and like, he actually made sure he understood stuff and stuff like that. He actually seemed like a normal guy, like someone you played basketball with over the weekend.
Yeah. And so, see, you were sitting like thousands of miles away. You could see that. Yeah. And being on the ground on that, we're writing the book on it right now. So I was just in New York 3 days ago. And we're interviewing the whole team and him to write the story of this campaign, because it's such an important question. There's so many people. I asked you why you thought it was special, because so many people are taking the wrong lessons from this campaign. Yeah. And they think it's, he was charismatic. Mm-hmm. He knows how to talk, and it was the viral social media. Which is not what happened. We know from research, social media does not get people out to vote. That is not, it does, no, it's like, again, I study this stuff. So I know. It's not enough to get people out to vote. there were so many things that made it different. I think I will say one foundational thing. What has happened in politics now since the 90s, since, consultants came into the fore, is they have turned people into data points.
Yes.
Into things to be sold to. Like you are a target and I'm just going to sell you something and market you something and then you'll believe in it and you'll vote.
Yeah.
We treat people as targets, whereas what the number one thing that they did differently versus any other campaign is they treated people as agents. And what that means is that they have the power to change the world, basically. That it's not about, elect me and I'll fix everything for you. Yes, there are certain powers and tools that government affords. But this foundational assumption that people have the power to change their own lives, not alone, but collectively together, because that is the only way history has ever been made. When you start with this foundational assumption about people, that they are not something to be sold to, that they are not just dehumanized data targets, but real people with real stories, then you don't just think about someone as like a Trump voter or a Biden voter, as a Democrat or a Republican, as a liberal or a conservative. So I'm not going to talk to these people, but I'll talk to these people.
Yeah.
You treat them as human beings that are very complicated and that I can engage in conversation with. And that's what he was saying, is like a guy that I could just talk to.
Yeah.
And they did. They listened to people, not as like message testing groups, but as real human beings over years. And the biggest thing is like this didn't just happen. It was a 10-year history really of organizing. It was part of a broader movement of the Democratic Socialists of America and other groups and whatnot. And so the number one thing that when we say the word special does not mean it's only you're able to do it in New York. We're proving that we can do it here too. But it's the number one thing is stop trying to make it about a politics of personality, about one person. Many people never met Zoran. They didn't know who he was. You have to remember that people never, but they knew what he was fighting for. Yeah. Because the common causes, not better New York, but it was affordable didn't mean it wasn't affordable. It was a bus, a fast and free bus, a rent freeze, and universal health care. These are things that people can wake up and feel, right? And touch, not fancy political words that we like to use. So really there's so many. Please read the book if you'd like to learn the lessons.
When is it coming
in the fall? Yeah? I'll get you a copy.
I'll definitely read it.
I'll get you a copy. Yeah.
I want to go into politics in the future, actually. And I think you'll help me so much.
The root word for politics is what? It's people. So once we forget about people and we start making it about a person and their personal ambition, then it's you're selling something.
Yeah.
Is there a wasp?
No. I was
We're so over time.
No. Oh. I was just like, ooh, like
I think he's loving the conversation.
I was invested there.
Are you going to read this book? Come on,
audiobook. Audiobook.
All right, I'll make sure we get an audiobook.
Audiobook. No, Spotify only. Don't make me pay for it.
Yeah. People in one word, by the way. It's just people.
Definitely. One of the biggest problems in Milton right now is poor urban planning, right? I mean, you can see, you go to the Superstore Plaza over there, or you can go to Ethnic over there, and you see so much traffic. I mean, as a 16-year-old trying to drive, it's hell, I'll tell you that, right? And youth unemployment is also one of the biggest problems. I'm 17 years old and I'm still not able to get a part-time job even after applying for like 100 applications. And like how do you plan to like kind of solve these problems and get through it,
That's really so. I'll go backwards. I'll start with the youth unemployment.
Yes.
Any young person that you talk to, I'm surprised you even applied to jobs in Milton. Most of them haven't applied to a single job here because there aren't that many.
They have to go out of Milton.
You gotta go. You gotta leave to make a living and to live a life. Just like, and people are like, why did you leave for 2 or a couple of years? I'm like, what could I do here that could use my education to the best of its ability? So when we talk about youth unemployment, we have to remember, again, it's not because our people are not talented. The opportunities just don't exist here. So the back planning is interconnected. We need to zone and make it easier for businesses to come here.
Yeah.
You talk to any business that wants to build here, there's so many barriers. Any business that wants to do anything here, right? But our family owns a small business.
Yeah.
It is not only expensive, but it's almost impossible because there's just so much red tape everywhere.
Definitely.
So one is we need to be able to sell ourselves a little bit better and attract that business and this talent to create those jobs by showing what we have to offer, which is our people, the land, the highway access, and planning accordingly. Not just, we say it's the town of Matney, not the town of Milton for a reason, because we sold it off to developers, right? Yes, housing is important, and we need to build that sustainably, and we need to make complete communities that have those jobs. So zoning is important. Incentives are important. You look at neighboring places like Mississauga that had an economic revival. How did they do that? there were incentive programs.
They brought companies.
Companies and they made sure that it was easier for them to open and build because it's an investment in the community.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually cost anything. It's like, for 10 years, 10% of your taxes are invested back into your company.
Yeah.
That is an investment because we're creating jobs and opportunities. So we don't even need to reinvent the wheel here. This has already been done.
We just got to invest and incentivize those.
Evidence-based. Go back to my neuroscience days. Look at what has already worked. And we've spoken to people. Brampton has its problems. Business is not one of them. They're one of the biggest business hubs in this country.
Yeah.
And that is because they have had a proactive approach and they had partnerships with these companies to bring them to the city and to
Milton.
Yeah. And so we need to do the same. And you'll see over the coming months, the meetings that we'll be having with people before the election even. And not just the plans that we're coming out with, because what I said, it's about people and relationships. It's really important. And so youth and employment there, the urban planning that you just talked about, urban planning, again, as a neuroscientist, is not just this technical thing. It's a health problem, right? When you have the only place for young people to gather is a Tim Hortons parking lot where they're having knife fights. That's a health problem, right? That, and people don't want to, then they might not want to stay here as much, or they don't feel as connected. So when we talk about planning, that's where the competence matters.
Yeah.
Instead of having developers plan it for you, make sure that you have your own vision. If you're really, think of Europe, you build it like a village.
It's a
Every
city,
neighborhood has what it needs.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have 4 cars at your home, right? So these are all things of making sure government is talking to the people. People are talking to the government, and we're all participating. Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah.
You're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is one of the biggest problems. In your opinion, other than these, what else do you think are the biggest problems built into something like that?
Listening to people, what we hear is, when you think about things like road safety and snow removal, people think, that's like a small thing.
Yeah.
That's a life and death thing, actually. Really.
Very big thing. Yeah.
Time that you're spending removing snow, again, it's time you could be doing something else, but also, there's been a lot of accidents. There are people who have gotten severely injured because we don't have the services in this town. When you just drive over to Oakville or Burlington, you can literally see at the border, the line, the difference between the towns in our services of those things. We have old people who can't do that themselves. We have people with disabilities who can't do that themselves. So many are paying out of pocket for these things, right? Paying with their time or with their dollars. So snow removal is actually really, really, really important.
Yeah.
And road safety is also really important, right? Like when you have what we're seeing happening on the roads, less safe to bike, less safe to walk, less safe to scooter around. And again, like that, we've seen a lot of those accidents.
We've seen a lot of e-bike accidents.
Exactly. So road safety is really important. When we think about things like, even people don't think about this they do think about it every day, but they don't think into waste management is really important. We love this community because it's peaceful, clean nature, but then you have like trash bins flying around, and not enough infrastructure to support the growth that we've seen in all of this. So those things seem small to people, but they're really, really, really very important. And those are the things that we have the power to change. So other than the big bucket things that we talked about, there are those. And if you go to milton.com, you can share your thoughts on all the other things, things like we have a big special needs community here.
Yes.
Making sure they have affordable space to gather and to program. So lots of seniors, the rural side of town, making sure they have services as well and they're not ignored.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff to work on.
Lots of stuff to work on once you get elected.
Before we get elected. Yeah.
You went to Branksome Hall, a private school in Toronto, right? Where tuition runs about 50 to 90K, right? Do you think that kind of education gave you a competitive edge over some of the other candidates you're running on?
Well, first I will say I started going to that school at the age of 11. So I've been commuting to Toronto since the age of 11.
Oh my God.
On the GO train, the TTC subway, the bus, and then I'd walk. So 4 modes of transport every day. So that's when I started going to that school. And before I go into what that provided me, and I went there on a merit-based scholarship.
That's very
it was an all-girls IB. There was no really IB in this town. You know what IB is,
there is
right?
IB is.
Now there
IB
is.
here, yeah.
There wasn't when I was a kid.
Wow.
Which is what I'm saying of like opportunity in this town and building that here. So the thing is school is one place and that education was important. I'll go into why it was important. But first and foremost, again, as I said, my parents went to a public school in Pakistan. My grandmother never graduated high school. Those people know more about life than anyone I went to that high school with. Because more than our circumstances, our choices determine, again, as I said, character, right? So, I think my biggest education started here at this home. And the reason why is this. I don't think that classroom benefited me as much as the commute to the school, because what I got to see every day at 5 a.m. in the morning, I'd wake up, and then 7 or 8, I'd come back home at night every single day, is you get to see the world at a very young age.
Yeah.
Milton is a very protected community, actually, if you actually think about it. You don't see homelessness every day. You don't see the things that you see on the streets of the city every day. So as I'm commuting every morning and every evening, I'm seeing people sleep on the streetcars, on the subway, asking an 11-year-old child for money because they can't afford to eat.
Yeah.
And that type of an education in the world was one that instilled a very deep sense of justice within me, where, every day I'm going to this school with people whose parents like run the banks and whatever. And then I'm coming home and I'm going on this commute, and you're seeing people live a very different life. And many people see that. I'm not saying that I'm the only person who witnessed that, but what this home taught me, when I say home, I mean the people in this town. My faith was a big part of that, my faith community, but also anyone that I grew up with here, was that you don't just look at that and then look away.
You can't unremember it, basically.
We have a thing in our faith tradition where it's like, if one part of the body is aching, the whole body is aching. We all have a responsibility to each other. Just because I'm comfortable and I'm okay is not enough until we're all okay, until we all have what we need. And I think that was a greater education than what that school could have provided me.
Yeah.
And the best education for me was the Milton Montessori school that I went to here in this town, because it taught us a sense of agency. What I felt a lot of the times at that Toronto school was like, you have to wait to do something to do something. But what the Milton Montessori here taught me was, we already have everything that we need. Yeah. Whether that's your time, your 2 feet, your tongue, and the languages that you speak. If we all just used those gifts that we've been given together, not alone, then we could solve a lot of these problems. And so I know you started with the school that I went to and the tuition. Yeah. But really an education in the world is what I got from that commute. And this community is what gave me the values of, we can actually do something about those things. Instead of just sitting by, as soccer analogy, spectators on the sidelines, we can be active participants on the pitch.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great analogy with like the comparison with the trends and stuff. So did you end up going to space?
No, I did not.
No.
I realized that my dream, I think every kid dreams kind of space at some point as a kid. My dream changed though as I grew up. That's why I went into education. Yeah. Is that my dream is really to help other people's dreams come true. And this campaign is a way of also doing that, because the things that we're fighting for is just making sure there's more opportunity for people to fulfill their dreams in this town instead of having to lose to do that. Yeah. But still love space. I still nerd out.
You must have felt pretty cool back then, like with the space thing. Yeah.
I just felt like a real gift.
Very exciting.
Yeah, I'm still connected to that community. I still do STEM advocacy with the UN. Like, I still do that work. But it's how do we create opportunity for people who really do want to go into that space without the barriers in place. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for appearing in today's podcast. And thank you for your time.
I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you for watching today, guys, and subscribe and like our video today. Yeah, thanks.